So, in terms of macronutrients, the first one we have here is protein, which is an essential macronutrient and the most essential. So, it is essential because we don't store protein the same way that we store carbohydrates and fats. So, carbohydrates we store as glycogen in our muscle cells and also in our liver. And fat we store as adipose tissue around our body, whereas protein, the only place we can get protein from if it isn't coming from our diet is from catabolizing our lean tissue. And if we go back to our basal metabolic rate, the biggest determinant of your basal metabolic rate is the amount of lean tissue that you carry. So we don't want to be giving any of that up, certainly uh, not without a fight. So, making sure that we're getting an adequate amount of protein is essential for this. It's also essential due to the amino acids that's the building blocks of life. So there is 20 different amino acids that's used by the human body. And of those 20, 9 of them are essential, meaning that we can't get them, we can't make them, sorry. We have to get them from the diet. So that's just another reason why protein is so important. And our body's constantly going through a protein turnover, so the rate of protein synthesis versus the rate of protein breakdown. So we always want to try and make sure that we're in a positive protein balance. That's why we have a daily target, and it's not like, one day, I can get 50 grams of protein in, and then the next day it can be 150 grams. Like, it's not, doesn't really work like that. It has to be that, that 2 grams per kilogram of target body weight, let's just say, every day. That's what we're aiming for. So, from a muscle building perspective, consuming adequate protein supports muscle protein synthesis, which is like I said, is the repair and the growth after a resistance training session. Um, so again, that's essential for us there in that regard. And then in terms of from a dieting perspective, higher protein intakes is going to help preserve lean muscle during fat loss phases. Uh, Protein also has a higher thermic effect, meaning that it takes the greatest amount of calories to digest when you look at protein, carbs, and fats. So protein, you only net about 70% of the calories. So even if you were overeating, and protein would potentially be a decent option there as well. Or if you were going to be indulgent, being indulgent in protein. And in some quarters, people think if you only indulged in protein, uh, that wouldn't be stored as fat. I think Bill Campbell, who's a pretty respected figure in the industry, has hypothesized that. So, and it's also going to promote satiety. It's going to make you feel fuller for longer, which again is going to help you reduce overall calorie intake as well. So if we're looking at protein sources, we're looking at lean meats, fatty fish, seafood, dairy products, eggs, lentils, protein supplements, whey, pea proteins, things like that. So protein quality uh, is also really important. So not all proteins are made equal, and this is maybe the argument that you could have with people, or the argument against veganism, is because of these 9 essential amino acids that we require. Animal products tend to give us the amino acids that we need in the quantities that we need them, whereas these plant-based proteins, there's a lot of them that don't give us the adequate amount of amino acids, and not in the right ratios that we're looking for as well. There are some, but it's definitely limited when you compare it against an animal based kind of protein source. And therefore that's why you often hear vegans having to supplement with amino acids, essential amino acids or something like that, as part of their diet as well.